Let's talk about governance. The need for governance exists anytime a group of people come together to accomplish an end. There are a number of definitions of governance in the literature, but almost all of them rest on three dimensions: authority, decision making, and accountability. So, authority, because you need to have the authority to do what you are mandated to do. There's also the need for decision making. If you're governing, you need to be making decision, and also accountability. So governance determines who has power, who makes decision, and how other players make their voice heard, and how account is rendered. So the governance of healthcare in Ontario, it's a multi-level governance system in Ontario. You have the Ministry of Health and Long-Term Care that is at the top. Then you have the LHINs that have their own boards of directors, and then you have the healthcare organization that they also have their own boards of directors. So each of these levels have a role to play. Each of these levels have a role to play in the governance of healthcare in Ontario. And it's important that there be an alignment between these different levels. So when the Ministry of Health and Long-Term Care takes a certain decision, let's say they take a decision about how physicians are compensated, and they decide to sort of implement a fee-for-service model. That's the model that's currently in place. But let's say they try to promote this. They promote this model, while the LHINs that's at the regional level, who's governing healthcare administration to a large extent at the regional level, they are trying to facilitate more integration, and they are pushing for a more capitation compensation system that will encourage different groups of physicians to work more closely together. So if this decision of the Ministry of Health and Long-Term Care is not aligned with that of what the LHIN is trying to achieve, then there's a misalignment between these different governance level, and it has an impact on the effectiveness of the provision of healthcare in Ontario. So there is a multi-level system, and it's important that these different levels are aligned in the exercise of their governance responsibility. So when we talk about governance, we talk about boards. And what's important to know is that the boards, they play a key role in the governance of healthcare organizations, and all boards must answer four basic questions. Why do we exist? So what is our mission? Whom do we represent? Who are our main stakeholders? So the patients, the government, the taxpayers, the community. What should we be doing? So what is our mandate as a board? Is it financial management? Is it policy making? Is it articulating a frame for the operational management of the organization? And how should we go about doing it? Are we going to have multiple committees that focus on quality of care, committee that focus on capital improvement projects, or committee that focus on the more financial projects, and so on? So they need to first know why they are there. So why is governance needed for these particular institutions? Who are they representing? Are they serving? Is it the patient interest, the taxpayer's interest, the government's interest? Okay, what they should be doing. So the mandates should we be in the day-to-day micromanagement of the affairs of the healthcare organization or the institution that they're governing, and how should be organized? Is it going to be a committee that focuses on these few issues, or these other issues, etc.? So these are four basic questions that every board needs to answer. Now, what's important to know is that the boards only have one employee, and that's the CEO, the Chief Executive Officer. And also, the CEO can be hired and fired. They are hired and fired by the board. And also, they have a staff, so they have a senior management team that they are managing, but these are not employees of the board. Only the CEO does report to the board, and the CEO and the board have to work as partners. If there is not a good relationship between the CEO and its board, it's hard for an institution or an organization to actually achieve its goals. So let's look at the boards of hospitals. The board members of a hospital, they have the responsibility, like I said before, to hire and also regularly evaluate the CEO. They also approve the hospital strategic plan and budget, and they have other tasks as well, and they have to make sure they monitor the performance of the hospital in relation to quality of care, etc. And this was something that has been required through the Excellence for Care Act of 2010, where there is additional requirements for hospital accountability in regards to quality improvement, patient safety, and so on.